apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Clovercrest Media Group presents a CMG podcast. Keys to the City.
Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know.
Crossed up by Kobe, little floater to Shaq, and then Shaq goes like this, and the rest is history. Pay attention. Don't tell me what to do, devil woman. But speaking of those Lakers, but I hold on. But I didn't make my. I didn't make. I said Denver's gonna win. Yeah, you did. You said that.
There's no other show like that. Clovercrest is doing great things right now.
Streaming everywhere.
Sanderson looking in, zone for a pass. He's looking for King, intercepted. He's going to go down the right side. Lawrence down to the 20, 30, down to the 40. He might go all the way. 3rd down and 7. Good jump off the line by Strahan, who gets the sack. Pressure from Thomas off the edge. Eli Manning stays on his feet. Airs it out down the field. It is caught by Tyree. 4-man rush. Eli throwing into traffic on the sideline. They're going to rule it a catch by Manning.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to John About the GMen, the Giants Football Podcast. I'm Big J, joined by Joe Guire, King Zay, and Sean Scanlon. We got a lot to talk about. Joe, I know you missed the past couple weeks. I just want to run by Joe Shane now. New GM brings over his guy, Brian Dable.
Wait, which Brian are we talking about? Oh, Dable. All right. I get confused sometimes with all these Brians.
Yeah.
Got to make sure we call them by their last names here. We don't make any confusion. I love this. I like this guy. I'm a little bummed Ken Dorsey's not coming over with him. People might not know, but he was the guy who single-handedly turned Cam Newton into an MVP and has worked wonders with Josh Allen, so he gets to be the OC in Buffalo. But I think the Giants are in good hands with Brian Dable. I think he's saying all the right things as far as working with Daniel Jones. I do think the potential is there. And for anybody who 2 years ago thought Josh Allen was going to be a superstar talent, you're full of crap. Because everybody thought that guy was a bust coming out of Wyoming. So give me a break. You got to be in a good situation. One of the things about Dable, what they did with Josh Allen was they found things that Josh Allen was good at, things not necessarily in their own playbook. And they were like, oh, well, put some stuff in the playbook that works to your best abilities. That's good coaching. That's what good coaching is. Good coaching is listening to your players, and when they're like, hey, I do this really well, let's make that part of the game plan. So I think that the Giants made some good moves here. I think aligning yourself, your staff, and your front office with people from a very successful organization who have totally turned things around is a step in the right direction. Keeping Kevin Abrams was stupid. That guy, I mean, what is he good at? He's like the cap guy. They're like $30 million over the cap. What is he doing? Also, who are the Giants paying? I mean, as long as there's been a salary cap, this organization has struggled to work it and to understand it. Meanwhile, the Redskins and the 49ers and the Cowboys sign everybody. The Commanders, I mean.
That's the Commanders to you now.
The Commanders, sir. Interesting that they went very naval as opposed to maybe, a title that applies to all of the military. But anyway, I don't know. I will say this. As bad as things are, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this in a hot minute, but as bad as things are, Joe Judge did say something that is kind of right when he was referring to the clown show organizations. And he was talking about Washington. And I think today Washington really proved it. And let it not be lost on anybody that while this team was under investigation for a massive sexual assault and discrimination and whatever was happening over there, they hired a black GM and a Hispanic head coach and then got rid of the Redskins name. Don't ever let that be lost on anybody that those moves were simply done to try to deflect the embarrassment from that organization.
Yeah, and the John Gruden leaks were also part of that, the deflection. So I feel like Dan Snyder, I feel like he's going to have everyone call him the commander-in-chief in the front office with this new name. But yeah, I mean, Dable and Shane both have buckled down. They're going in with Daniel Jones. Zay, what do you think of that for the future of this Giants with this 1 year doubling down on Daniel Jones?
I don't know. 5-13. I don't know. I'm being honest with you. It's not the coaching staff I don't trust. It's the Daniel Jones. I gotta remember, they made Josh Allen great, but they're not bringing Josh Allen with them. They're coming and they're trying to change Daniel Jones, who we've now had for 4 years now, and we haven't seen much improvement. And as you look around the league, it doesn't take much anymore. We see these young quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. I can go on for days with the names, Kyler Murray. All these, they're excelling. They're getting better every year. And then we have Daniel Jones. And granted, Daniel Jones doesn't have everything, the offensive line and all this other stuff. Burrow doesn't have that great of a line over there. They added a great lineman, but that's not the best line in the NFL. And they're still finding ways to make it happen. So I think the Giants are going to waste another year on Daniel Jones, and then I think they'll maybe look and hopefully find something in the draft. Hopefully there's something there. Hopefully somebody, I don't know, becomes a star in college football. I don't know who's the next up and coming right now. I haven't looked, but obviously it's too early for that to be looking for 2023 draft projections. But I just don't see this team going in a better direction. I don't see any improvement. I see this being the same situation because you have the same pieces. I don't see anything changing. Like I said, you can bring in a coaching staff, but the players still have to play. At the end of the day, the players who are on that roster have to go out there and perform. And if they can't perform up to par, which we have seen with, look at our backups. The backups shouldn't even be in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? This is the team. The Giants don't have the money to go out and get guys to replace these people. So this is your team. I don't see it improving. I see another miserable year that we're just going to have to sit and suffer through. I just don't trust this franchise anymore. I don't trust the people up top. I don't believe in anything.
Wow. I mean, I get where you're coming from.
How could you, as a Mets fan, give up on the Giants? That's silly.
That's how bad they are. As a Mets fan, has given up on the Giants. Even the Mets on offense isn't this bad. They have figured it out. They've sold ownership, got a new owner who actually knows what he's doing. I think that's part of it, but I'll obviously leave that for later topics. But this team's a mess, bro. It is what it's a mess. It's been a mess for the last 5 years. It's not going to improve.
But back to the Giants. Now with the Bengals succeeding as much as they are, honestly, I'm more so on the. I'm before Zay, when you're talking about going out getting a Russell Wilson, a Deshaun Watson. At first, I was like, nah. But now after seeing how much a quarterback can impact in today's, like Joe Burrow is the whole reason they're in the Super Bowl right now. Him and Jamar Chase, and I mean, you need, I guess, one quarterback can change a lot, and I mean, to see what they could do with that O-line, the Bengals, I think a guy like Russell Wilson might be able to help the Giants out, but I don't know. That's still neither here nor there. I don't know. We still need time, and that'll happen during this offseason. We can get more in-depth on that. But, Sean, I still need to hear your thoughts on should they keep Daniel Jones, and what do you think of the Brian Dable hire? I know you're
I'm a fan of the Brian Dable hire. I agree with Joe that bringing in two guys that have worked together before, I think, is huge for this organization. You kind of had odd pairings with Judge and Gettleman, Shermer and Gettleman, who hadn't worked with each other before. So I think having two guys that have the same philosophies and ideas definitely works out. And on Daniel Jones, I mean, this team isn't in a position to go out and get a guy like Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson right now. So I think sticking with Daniel Jones for one more year is the right option. He's still on a rookie contract for one more year. He's super cheap. You might as well give him a new chance with the new head coach and new scheme on the offense. And I mean, I get that Daniel Jones hasn't been that guy. He obviously hasn't been great. His rookie year is probably his best year, and he's probably declined since then. But it can't be stated enough. It's not just the line. Obviously, with Joe Burrow, his line is terrible, but he also probably has the best receiving core in the NFL with Jamar Chase. T. Higgins would be a number one receiver on any other team. And Tyler Boyd is a great slot receiver. So it's the mixture of Daniel Jones having no receivers that have been healthy throughout his whole tenure in his 3 years here so far. And on top of that, having a terrible line and going into his third offense in 4 years. So could Daniel Jones have been a lot better the past couple of years? Definitely. But he also hasn't been given a fair situation his whole time here. So you might as well give him his last chance in his last year of his rookie contract. And we also just don't have the money or the resources to go out and get a quarterback right now. I think that, you have to get
you got the resources. You got the resources. If you want to use the resources, you have it. But we'll probably
but that's just
two players
putting us back.
Need nothing later. That I'm just saying.
All right, if you give up those draft picks though for Russell Wilson, say you're going to have to give up our 2 this year, probably another one next year, and then our offensive line is still terrible. And we're not going to be. We might be a playoff team, but we're not going to be a Super Bowl contender.
Sean, let me help you out here for a minute. With a lousy line and a subpar defense this year, the great Russell Wilson was 7-10.
Russell Wilson was hurt; he didn't play.
Deshaun Watson in his last full season in Texas was 4-12. So don't tell me that he's going to magically show up. They're going to win 10 games.
Hold on.
That is ridiculous.
Hold on.
We're talking about this team is a disaster, and
you're talking
adding a good quarterback is not going to make a difference to the
Giants. The Band-Aid that's going to hurt us down the line.
Yes, he was. His last year was bad, but you got to remember they traded away DeAndre Hopkins, the best receiver in football. Who wouldn't be terrible? The year before that, they weren't terrible. They were playoff bound. They
didn't win a playoff game.
Yeah, and also, I mean, look at Russell.
It goes to show you without the right weapons, even a really talented, really good quarterback is not going to do well.
In place you have that in place. We know what Kenny Golladay can do if healthy. We know what he can do. He can be that receiver for Deshaun Watson. But again, the Giants will take 2 draft picks in the first round who will turn out to be nothing for us again, like Dexter Lawrence and Daniel Jones, who have done nothing for us since we've drafted them. Honestly, B.J. Hill has been playing. Who was it? Is it B.J. Hill that's on the Bengals now? Another one of our let goals. How many ex-Giants did we let go that are now playing in the Super Bowl?
It's all guys that Gettleman got rid of. That's why you have to trust in the new GM. Gettleman was an idiot.
Go get what you know at this point, because you're not waiting around for draft picks to develop. We know what this team is, so go get what you know.
What is this team?
This team, the way this organization is moving, they are moving similar to the Rams, where you're going to have to go out and get the best that you can get and give up your draft picks and become a playoff team that way. That's how I feel. That's honestly how I feel at this point. That's how the Giants are going to have to move, because the Giants, again, Russell Wilson missed half the season.
He also looked pretty plain in the hardest division in football.
Let's also forget.
Now,
he
if he came to the NFC East,
could you imagine?
I think he would light it up. Just saying.
I guarantee
he'd be the best quarterback in the NFC East.
The Giants are so far away from even this shouldn't even be a discussion right now. No. I mean, the Giants need to rebuild.
Yeah, the Bengals were just like that before they got Joe Burrow.
I think
2 years ago, the Bengals were in the same exact boat the Giants are. They were worse.
Listen, first of all, you're undervaluing the Jamar Chase pick going into this season. That made an enormous difference having that guy there. It made him so much better. It really did. Okay, it's how they were able to survive 9 sacks in the divisional round. Okay, that's the only reason that was able to happen. The Bengals are fortunate because they're in a situation now going forward where they're going to rebuild that offensive line through free agency and the draft. So they got all the weapons already. So, again, I think it's imperative for the Giants. And again, whether you like it or not, Daniel Jones is going to be the quarterback next season. There's no way around it. Russell Wilson's going to go to Tampa Bay or Green Bay or a Bay, somewhere where a quarterback's going to be leaving. He's not going to go to the Giants because the Giants are, as Sean just said,
you're not telling us anything new.
Away
we know
from being competitive.
No,
why would anybody want to go play for the Giants right now?
I wouldn't go that far. That far from being competitive. They have a really good defense on the outside of the ball. The problem with the defense,
their defense finished 21st in the league.
Yeah, because they're always on the field. They play more than any defense in the NFL. I probably think
they also gave up 40 points like 3 times.
Have you seen the offense?
I have. And I talk about this almost every single week, Zay. I talk about this every week, how exposed that defense is and how unfair that is. But fact of the matter is, you still got to make the big stops, and you still can't get lit up by the Rams and the Cowboys and teams like that. And that's exactly what happened. And the defense, I got to say, almost quit in those games if we're being honest here. And I understand that. I mean, again, they're on the field 35, 40 minutes, not getting a whole lot of help from the offense. Those are the reasons why they had those blowouts. The defense just gave up. So the defense has its issues. Whether Blake Martinez is going to be a cap casualty in all this is going to go a really long way because, again, Trey Crowder and Reggie Ragland are not good play. They're just not good at calling defenses. Saw so much confusion before plays so often. So, again, the Giants are in good shape if they can work the cap issues out. If they have to send James Bradbury packing, and if they have to send Blake Martinez packing, this defense is way worse than it was 2 years ago.
I think they can restructure those guys. I think they were restructure them before they get sent the packing. I think they will, especially Blake Martinez.
Let's hope that they do, because
coming off that injury, you would assume that Blake Martinez would be more willing to restructure, knowing that he's probably in a season where he's not going to be playing his best. We know how it is. We see the Saquon Barkley situation. He hasn't been the best since his injury. He obviously looked better at the end of the season than he did in the beginning of the season, but we don't know what that's going to translate till next year. So coming to Blake Martinez like, hey, we're going to need you to restructure because you're coming off a huge injury. We don't know what you're going to get out of you. I think he'll be more willing to do that.
Yeah, I will say, though, Joe Shane has a lot of pressure on himself after what the Bengals have done. Those two first-round picks in Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have changed that and brought them to a Super Bowl contender team. Contend to the Super Bowl. Now you have 2 first-round picks here. That should, if the Bengals can do it, why can't the Giants do it? Those 2 picks are very important, and that should be able to put you to a Super Bowl contending team.
So let's talk about this.
divisional
First and foremost, Joe Burrow was a result of them just sucking. So
Exactly.
they had to be a complete disaster. So think about how bad it was and where they were when they made that pick. Okay? I mean, gun to their head there. The organization was in dire straits.
No, it wasn't.
And then you'll recall, yes, they were. That's why they had the number
Probably
1 pick in
paying
the
the
draft.
coach to lose
And then they were supposed to draft Penei Sewell to protect Joe's blind side.
Yeah.
And they were like, nah, we're not doing that. People were like, they're so stupid because we all know so much more than these guys do, don't we? So
Yeah.
they did the opposite of what everybody wanted them to do, and it worked out. So my point is sometimes you got to bring the right people in, people that are willing to take a chance. People that identified Josh Allen from Wyoming and were like, I can make it work with that guy. Those are the kind of people you want. Andy Reid seeing Pat Mahomes. Because, listen, again, outside of Jace, who really thought Pat Mahomes was going to be anything? Nobody. Nobody except for Andy Reid, Jace Garcia, and what's his face? The coach from a couple years ago. What was his name? Shermer. McAdoo, rather. Yeah, thank you. No one else thought that guy was anything. You see something in the guy, you go get him. Bill Belichick wanted Mac Jones. Worked out pretty well. The Giants have something in this kid. You know, nobody wants to talk about the fact that this kid didn't turn the ball over at all this year when he played. Nobody wants to talk about that. As I see it, look, the problem currently with Daniel Jones is simple. Daniel Jones has to put the ball in the end zone. That's it. He cleared up the turnover problem. He's really learned a lot about his reads and his progressions. He did a really good job. He's an amazingly mobile quarterback. You started to, before the injury, see them actually put plays in to highlight the fact that Daniel Jones is a running quarterback. So you're building off of things here. You're in a position where, listen, you're going to have to try to go with Daniel Jones next season. This is ultimately going to be it. You have a draft that's poor for quarterbacks. I don't think it makes sense to go out there. No offense, but I think Deshaun Watson's got a better chance of being in jail than he does of ever seeing an NFL field again.
Stop. That's crazy talk. I don't want to go that far.
It is. That's why his team let him sit for 17 games while paying him $25 million because they feel really great about his chances. I don't think so. Think about that. They paid that guy $25 million to not even show up. What does that tell you? Does that sound like the team really believes in him? Because I'm sure they've investigated these crimes.
Yeah.
And also, listen, I like Colin Cowherd a lot. I'm a fan. He might be, when it comes to this take-up with the Giants, this might be the stupidest thing he's ever said. And this would rival some of the stupidest things Skip Bayless has said. The Giants are not trading all their number 1 picks for Russell. It makes no sense. So stupid. Right, Sean, again, when you consider all the other areas they need to address, let's take all this draft capital we've been storing up in hopes of doing something, and let's give it away for one aging quarterback coming off the worst season of his career. Great idea, Colin. Really showing off that football knowledge.
It makes zero sense.
Maybe it's such a bad idea that the Giants might actually do it because the Giants have only been doing bad ideas for the last 5 years.
We want to stop the bad ideas.
That's why we fired Gettleman and brought in Shane.
We want to stop trying this like half rebuild thing.
It doesn't work. You can't do it.
Listen, what the 2016 Yankees did, 2017 Yankees, that kind of, we're going to bring all the young guys up and just be good. That doesn't usually happen like that. The Bengals turning this around in Joe Burrow's first year, I'll just point out, this is not the norm. It's not the norm. It's an outlier. And again, everyone's like, well, you got to have Pat Mahomes. You got to have a Joe Burrow. Shut up. There's like 5 guys in the league like that. 5. Yeah. And those 5 are constantly fluctuating.
It's It's not that easy. I mean, there's teams that lose every year and every single year get a top 5 draft pick, and they're still at the bottom of the league year in, year out. You got the Lions, the Jets, teams like that are terrible, that can't get out of their own way. The Bengals are a complete outlier. You can't just say, oh, look, they did it because they had 2 great. I mean, they did great drafting, and it got them to this place. It does not happen often. It doesn't happen to every team. You can't just say because the Giants have 2 top 10 picks that they're going to be right back to a Super Bowl contender. It takes a lot to rebuild. The Bengals got really lucky that they did really good drafting, and now that they're in this position, you can't expect it to happen.
Not to mention, we talked about this. I'm sure you've all seen the meme, 30 years of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and that got them 2 Super Bowls. So, sorry to say, but you could be the greatest quarterback in NFL history. It means diddly squat. It really does. Yeah. Everything else has to be right. Your situation has to be right. Eli doesn't win the Super Bowls without those defenses. Those defenses don't win the Super Bowl without Eli. It was the perfect combination. It worked out really well. A lot like the Trent Dilfer Super Bowl. Okay? You can still win with those kind of quarterbacks. Jimmy G can take you to the NFC Championship game. Guy was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. That sort of run-first offense with a great defense, yeah, that formula from the 80s still works.
Jimmy G gets a bad rap. I think he was first off. I think he was a good quarterback. I think Belichick knew that. That's why he went after. That's why he got him. That's why he was his guy. Supposed to be the heir apparent to Brady at one point. And I just think that the 49ers actually undervaluing him. I think the 49ers don't get as far as they got, obviously, without him. Even if you put like Trey Lance, if he doesn't become anything, they're going to look horrible in the future because they had somebody who basically almost got them to the promised land and then almost did it again. It's almost going to be similar to with the whole Colin Kaepernick situation when it took them almost forever to recover from when they got rid of Colin Kaepernick. So
I get that, but that was a little bit different. I think this is more so like Kyle Shanahan just wants a little bit more of an athletic quarterback, just a new toy to add in to draw some plays up for.
But what is that?
Jimmy G does all the stuff great, but he doesn't do anything spectacular.
I'm all in favor of the mobile quarterback, but when you look at the Super Bowls that are won, there aren't many mobile quarterbacks that win them. I hate to say I am a huge fan of the mobile quarterback, but those guys aren't the guys who always win it, and they don't last that long in the league because of the way they play their position. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I think they had a good thing with Jimmy G. I think they should have kept it.
Right. I mean, they still can keep it. There's still time.
Not for nothing, but was there anything more Jimmy G than this final moment of the football game? This is just the kind of thing that you expected from him. He'd play, and I thought to myself, God, this guy's playing so great. I knew they weren't going to win the game, though. And then when it ended like that, I thought, there it is. There's your Jimmy G moment of the day. And that's, unfortunately for him, that's going to be the lasting image that everyone in San Francisco has. And that's the lasting image of him going into free agency. So, or not even, I guess, into whatever you want to call it. His, I don't know, his exodus, however you want to define it. It's sad.
How many injuries did he have this year that he played through? Come on.
He's a great quarterback. I'd take him any day of the week, Zach.
Just give him credit. He played through a lot of injuries.
Yeah. He did. That shoulder's all messed up, and I feel terrible for him. But that was such a Jimmy G play. It was, again.
But just think about it. Look at what his shoulder did to Baker Mayfield. Look at what it did to Baker Mayfield.
Well, I mean, just Baker Mayfield just sucks, though.
No. Yeah, you get that, but he was a lot better last year when he had a healthy shoulder compared to this year.
You're right, but I guess we'll see. We will see.
All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes here. This is all fun and games and whatnot, but we got some serious issues to deal with, don't we?
Yes, we do. Brian Flores suing NFL, Dolphins, Broncos, and the Giants for discrimination. It's rough. I mean, I don't know. It sucks. I get the Giants thing, but like it was Joe Shane was always going to bring over Dable. Like that was always it from day one.
Right. But see,
So-
again, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. First of all, let me tell you guys something, because people don't know this, and you guys were all students of mine. So, and I explain the harsh realities of this business, that sometimes you guys will see job postings for a really cool gig, and you'll send your demo and your resume, and they never call you, and you don't know why. You start to question yourself. And in a lot of those cases, they posted that job just for the EOE. Equal opportunity employment. That job was promised to somebody and it was going to somebody. Okay. We're trying to avoid that. I mean, that's a violation of the law to do that. And when you've already decided who you're going to hire and you're going to bring a whole regime over and you start calling Marvin Lewis and Leslie Frazier and now Brian Flores, just because you got to check some boxes, you should expect that there's going to be ramifications for that. If you didn't bring these guys in to have an actual conversation to see if these guys could fix your piece of shit organization, okay, your clown show organization for the last, I'm going to say 10 years, you have a chance to start from scratch, bring in some people, figure out the direction of this franchise. Nothing should be predetermined. Every interview should matter. Every one of those interviews should matter. Every one of those guys brings something to the table. If you're just sitting there checking boxes, you're doing your organization an incredible disservice. I said from the get-go, I didn't want Brian Flores as the head coach of the Giants. I don't like him. Wasn't feeling that guy. Okay? I don't know what happened there in Miami. It seems like maybe some things have come out that maybe were not true. But he didn't seem like the guy for me. My focus on the Giants is they needed an offensive-minded head coach. We've seen the defensive guys fail. Let's get serious here. The offense is what needs the attention. So as far as this is concerned, my hope is that Marvin Lewis and some of these other black coaches who have been getting screwed and blackballed from this league for years, that have been the guys that have been basically token minorities being brought in so they could check the boxes on the Rooney Rule. This is finally caught up to the NFL.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, by the way, or just a few weeks ago, I think it was, we talked about Dan Campbell and the job Dan Campbell did in Detroit. And I forget who it was, somebody on this show or one of the other shows said, you could really see those guys playing hard for Dan Campbell. All 3 wins. They were playing so hard for Dan Campbell. And it's easy to believe that because Dan Campbell's a white guy. Dan Campbell's got no coaching experience to speak of and got a 5-year deal from a crap organization like Detroit. Somebody was like, well, who would want that job? Lots of people. You don't think Jim Caldwell wants a head coaching job? He's better than like 35 of the coaches that are in the league now. Give me a break.
Yeah.
So this was going to come eventually, and it's unfortunate that the Giants have gotten caught up in it. But it should be all 32 teams being sued for this, with the exception of one, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers, who had an owner who really wasn't a racist, who really believed that black people and white people were equal, and that a black man could lead an organization. And Mike Tomlin, just as a testament, is still there and still doing amazing things in Pittsburgh.
He might be the best coach in the NFL.
Yeah.
I would, again, right, we talked about that Antonio Brown thing a few weeks ago like it was a joke, but it wasn't. Think about what Mike Tomlin dealt with all those years so well.
And he's never had a losing season, ever.
Because
like 15
pulled
years.
out his belt. That's why. AB got
And it's amazing how many white fans I know can't stand that guy for some reason. Can't stand him. I wonder what it is.
I wonder why.
Because he's successful. He doesn't fail.
Yes, a successful black coach is intimidating to people for some reason. It's 2022. I mean, here's the other thing. For anybody who hears what I'm saying and they're getting all bent out of shape about this, if you want last summer to never happen again, if you want all this social justice stuff to eventually go away, it's going to start by this kind of stuff getting resolved.
Yeah.
Here's the number one thing that the NFL really does, if they really are serious, because again, the problem is all the GMs are white and all the owners are white. It's time for teams to put committees together, a hiring committee where you bring in outside people to help you find the right coach, so you don't just pick the first lily white guy that you think fits your city. I mean, Detroit's so blue collar. Dan Campbell's perfect. Well, Detroit's like 95% black. So come at me again, buddy. Are you talking about the suburbs of Detroit, or are you talking about Detroit proper? All black.
Yeah. My big thing with this is with the Brian Flores and the Giants stuff, like you didn't have a DC. Even if you knew it was going to be Dable, you still can't talk to Flores about maybe being a potential defensive coordinator for you, because that's a hole you're going to have to fill. Like, why did and you had all these other interviews. Why would you just have that with Flores? And the Broncos, it's ridiculous. They were hung over and late to their interview. The Dolphins, the rumors of Flores getting paid $100K per loss. Like, it's just wild. And I like that Brian Flores is bringing light to this and really being that person, because it has become ridiculous in the NFL. We saw it with Bieniemy, just barely getting an interview. They already knew they were going with Joe Judge, and we saw what happened there. But Zay, what do you think of this whole Brian Flores stuff?
You ready for the black guys take? This is gonna be interesting. Honestly, I'm disgusted with this organization. And for anyone who thinks that this is BS and the coach is just being a whiny baby, you're being ridiculous. This is more than that. This is about, like Joe said, equality, things being fair. This obviously is true. The text messages have to be true. Bill Belichick clearly made a mistake. Obviously, he admitted to it and he apologized in the text messages for making his mistake. And we know who Bill Belichick is to the Giants organization. He is obviously a two-time Super Bowl winning champ for us. He has a lot of ties within that organization. He's highly regarded. And we know that they went to him for Joe Judge's, when they went for his opinion on the coaching. They go, hey, you got your guy, right? Obviously not. I'm going to be honest. While I hope Dable has a great job, I think the Giants did really miss out on Brian Flores. By him to make this move, he obviously jeopardizes his career in the NFL. And he'll probably never be signed ever as a coach just because he's suing all the teams in the league. You just don't do that. We've seen this before with Colin Kaepernick. And in the situation with Colin Kaepernick, we know they gave him a sham tryout. We've known this, and Colin Kaepernick made those accusations. People call Colin Kaepernick a crybaby. How can he be a crybaby, make these accusations? And now we have this coming up again where another coach is saying, I got a sham interview. Not to mention it's disrespectful to your defensive coordinator who you interviewed a day before, knowing you already had your pick. So there's a guy now who is in your organization. He's been the best part of your organization for the last 2 to 3 years, and you disrespect him too on top of that. If I'm him, I'm taking the job in Minnesota if it's offered. I'm leaving this team as fast as I can and getting away from this organization, because this makes absolute no sense that something like this can happen. You interview for coaches at this point every other year, it seems like. How do you make this mistake? How does something like this, you've done this process now 5 times in a row. How do you make this mistake and let it happen? And to the NFL, I want to apologize to Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell, when accusations and all this stuff happens and scandals, Roger Goodell gets thrown on the mud because he has to protect the shield and continue to wipe the mud off the shield that's always on it, because there's always something going on. When he really has no control, he can't hire anybody. He can't fire anybody. All he can do is tell people he's going to investigate things. The owners need to start being held accountable. These are the people that hire people. These are the people that put people in positions. You're out here affecting people's jobs and livelihoods when you ask coaches to lose games on purpose. You are ruining their coaching record. So now when they are looking for a job, because now you've kicked them to the curb after you're done with them and used them up, because now you've got your high draft pick. You've got your prize boy who's going to now sell you tickets, probably another African-American player on your team who, mind you, makes up 90% of the team, but yet they have to look at a white leader every time they run out on the field. Not that there's a problem with that, but at some point, you would think as a black player, you want to look at somebody who looks like you, who relates to you, who understands your story, who understands where you're coming from. This is why you have such disconnect between players. This is why Tomlin was able to work with Antonio Brown and other coaches couldn't work with Antonio Brown, because Antonio Brown was probably able to relate better to Tomlin, understand Tomlin better. These things that we don't look at, we don't think about. You're asking players to throw games out there. These players put their lives on the line. These players retire and have CTE, go out there and commit suicide, and you're asking them to lose games on purpose? You're asking them to tank games on purpose? Pete Rose can't even get into Baseball Hall of Fame because he was betting on his team. He wasn't even affecting the game. He wasn't tanking the game. He was betting on his team to win, and he can't get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. And yet you got owners who are in the who will be eventually in the Hall of Fame, and coaches and stuff like that. You're asking them to tank and lose on purpose and ruin guys' careers and futures and outlooks. These guys, I think sometimes we forget that because they make so much money. These guys are regular people like us. They have families they have to take care of. They have kids they have to take care of. They have kids they want to put through college. And you're out here ruining their lives. As an African American, we have to walk a different rope than the white guy. Every time we fill out an application and we have to put African American, it is the scariest thing to fill out when you fill out that form of your application, because you feel like you're going to be thrown out instantly. And this is the situation and this is the reason why. Because you now go into a situation where you feel like the job's already not going to you, so why am I here? And for people asking why did he go to the interview, he went to the interview because if he didn't go to the interview, the media would have swayed that he took himself out of the running. He didn't go to the interview. He ruined it for himself. The Giants didn't hire him before. He assumed that text message was true and just didn't show up. So he did his part. He checked off his boxes. The NFL wants to help out blacks, putting blacks in positions in this league, and stop faking things with this Man of the Year award and all this stuff that you do for these black communities and all these commercials we see every 5 seconds during the games, because that's not helping us out really. That's just covering up what you do and really behind scenes, the dirt you do behind us. And I believe every one of those Broncos members came to that interview drunk. I believe every one of them came drunk and hungover and not expecting him to give him the job at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said it before. Like even if you already have the head coach in mind, there's still other spots you can try and find a guy. No. DC. Why can't he be DC? But still to come in and write it off like that.
You love radio. If I interview you for a station director job, and then you get there and I go, hey, you just want to be a board op? How would you feel?
No, but listen what I'm saying, Zay. Like, to still not be able to pick his brain is for like football knowledge and not being able to.
Why do I want to help you? You lied to me. You took me out to dinner. You made me feel special, made me feel like there was even a chance. Yet the whole time I knew you already were hiring somebody else. Why would I want to give you anything?
Because you need to be able. I think if you open up your mind to at least having him be like the DC, that might open up his mind to being. There still is opportunity for him, and I don't like how they. I don't like the.
Listen, the only way Patrick Graham comes back to this team is if they make him the defensive coordinator / assistant head coach. That, to me, that's the only way at this point you can save face with Patrick Graham. I mean, like Zay said, you schedule him an interview after you already knew who you were hiring. That's the respect this guy commanded from you. You're going to seriously have to do better than the job he had.
Say the two black guys for last. We're not hiring them anyway. Yeah, they set up the schedule.
It's pretty much how it was. And again, here's the funny thing. There's a big difference between Mara and Tisch. I don't know which guy is the racist. I'm sure one of them's super racist.
No, I don't think they're racist, bro. I don't think they're racist. I think it's comfortability. I don't think they're comfortable with African Americans in certain positions of power. Because they can't be racist.
They
have black players.
Yeah, racist.
They
You
have
have to have black players, dude. That's like Donald Sterling when he owned the Clippers.
You don't have that
telling
black
his girl,
players.
like, you could bang the black guys, just don't bring them around. That's
you don't have
still
that black
racist.
players, but your team is your team after that. I mean, like it is what it is at that point. I'm not not that look, and I'm not saying white players are inferior to black people at all. Black players at all. Do not misword me. I'm just saying we know what it is.
There's a reason 70% of the league is black, Zay. There's a
more than
reason.
70.
It's 70. I think it's like 72% the last I saw.
70.
Yeah.
Where are the other guys coming from?
There's a lot of punters, bro.
Yeah.
You guys don't have a single punter in the league right now.
It's
I don't believe.
32. Actually, we do.
Yeah,
Actually,
Marquette
we do.
there anymore.
So we got 31
one on the-
punters and
on the Chiefs, I think
26 quarterbacks.
I think there's a punter on the Chiefs. I think the black punter.
The Steelers punter, Presley Harvin.
There you go. I knew. I was,
Oh,
all right.
yeah, okay. He was playing the Chiefs. Okay, he was a
That's
Steelers
right.
punter. Okay, yeah, I remember that game. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
All right.
but you said you want somebody to stab you in the back. I'm like, oh, here's the knife. So, like, no, that can't work out no more. The relationship is torn. It's tarnished.
Assistant head coach, defensive coordinator. I think Patrick Graham would be willing to come back.
No, not if he's offered head coaching. Not if he's offered the head coaching position.
Well,
No.
obviously, listen, if he's
Wait,
offered a head coaching job, of course he's going to take it. But I'm telling you, the only way he comes back to the Giants is if, number one, there is no head coaching job in Minnesota or elsewhere. And
He's
number
going to
two,
Harbaugh. That's why.
they're going to have to offer him defensive coordinator / assistant head coach. I'm telling you, I don't see another way around this.
It's terrible.
He's not going to be the assistant. He's just going to be DC.
That was his title with Joe Judge. Anyway.
Jace, you don't disrespect a guy. The only guy that you kept around, the only guy, you cleaned house. The only guy that you're going to keep, and then you give him a fake interview to satisfy the Rooney Rule. I mean, he's hoping to God he gets that Minnesota gig.
The same thing's happening in Minnesota.
Maybe I call Michigan. See if Michigan wants a defensive-minded coach.
Maybe.
I'm telling you, if you don't think that there's an issue now between Patrick Graham and the Giants, because I saw Brian Dable say they'd love to have him back. I saw John Maris say they'd love to have him back. They hope he gets the head coach job in Minnesota, but would love to have him back if he doesn't. I can't imagine Patrick Graham wants to come back right now.
No,
I can't believe right now in his heart of hearts, and then especially in light of his friend Brian Flores. Don't forget, they're really good buddies.
Yeah.
You just screwed his friend.
I don't know that I don't know that Patrick Graham is dying to get back on this franchise that's now being sued. And it's probably, Zay, if I had to guess, going to be like, but look, we have a black defensive coordinator. We're not racist.
Yeah, it's a terrible look for John Mara and the organization. I mean, to give these guys just to benefit the Rooney Rule when you already have a head coach in place, just to say that you interviewed a black candidate it's cowardly. I mean, like you said, you should be able given an equal opportunity to all these head coaches, and we've seen it for years now. And we mentioned Jim Caldwell before. 2 of the only winning seasons in the past 30 years for the Lions, and he's kicked right out the door. David Coley this year with the Texans. He was given a garbage roster, no chance at all, 1 year. That team shouldn't have been anywhere close to 4 wins, maybe 2 wins at max.
They were playing for Coley at points in that season.
If they had gone 1-16, I would not have been shocked.
He gets one of the worst rosters in the NFL, the 4 wins, which they had no business doing. They don't even give him a shot, 1 year and done. Steve Wilkes in Arizona a couple years, 1 year and done when he was given a terrible situation. They bring these guys in just to say that they brought in a black candidate because all these old white owners are all racist and that they want to act like, oh, we're looking out for all the black candidates when they're really not. And that's why it's a terrible look for John Mara and the Giants right now. If you already knew Brian Dable was going to be your head coach, why are you even wasting your time with Brian Flores, who obviously he's a Brooklyn native? He was looking forward to another guy that got screwed over. 2 winning seasons in the last 2 years with the Dolphins. Won 8 of his past 9 games. He gets screwed over with the owner there, trying to have him tank, and this is what he gets. So why are you even giving these guys interviews if they know that they don't have a shot? He was obviously looking forward to it. In the text with Bill Belichick, he was saying, yeah, he was really excited to get this interview, and now he didn't even have an opportunity. So I have all the respect in the world for Brian Flores. He's putting his coaching career on the line, going against all these billionaires from the NFL to try and look out for future head coaches down the line. So, ton of respect for him. And like we said, there's, exactly those. Like we said, there's 70% black players in the NFL and only one head coach. It's absolutely ridiculous. They have the Rooney Rule in place to try and stop things like this, but obviously it's not doing enough. So there needs to be change. So kudos to Brian Flores. I think he's doing a great thing, not just for himself, but looking into the future for future black head coaches. So I hope he does win this lawsuit because it's time for a change. It's 2022. I mean, this has been going on for too long. So I just don't get why we can't have a change. And I think that it is time for a change. So a lot of respect for Brian Flores, and I hope that he ends up winning this lawsuit.
I don't know if anybody saw, but Marvin Lewis earlier today talked about 2002. He was interviewed by the Carolina Panthers, who immediately the next day named John Fox the head coach. Reports had surfaced days earlier they were going to hire John Fox. Marvin Lewis came out for that interview anyway. Box checked, and on we go. The 49ers did that some years ago before Shanahan. Who was the Erickson? Who was the coach in the 49ers? Help me out, somebody. A few years ago. White guy. Erickson came from college. Before Harbaugh. Was it Erickson? Somebody look that up real quick. Anyways, another one of those situations.
Yeah, Jim Tom Sula was the coach there.
I'm telling, maybe it's longer than that. Anyway, it was the same thing. They already knew. Oh, Mike Nolan. Was Mike Nolan their coach?
Are you sure it was the 49ers?
It was the San Francisco 49ers, yeah. I forget which one of those guys. It was either Mike Nolan or one of the other ones. Was
there from 05 to 2008.
Chip Kelly and Jim Tom Sula were in between Harbaugh and Shanahan.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm telling you, I don't remember which one it was.
Mike Nolan was 2005 to 2008.
Is my mic off?
It was. Listen, it doesn't matter who it was, but again, this has been going on for a really long time, where teams already know which white college football coach is coming to the pros, and now, nuts! Let me get Marvin Lewis on the phone. Let's see what Leslie Frazier's up to. These guys are tired of it. I mean, Marvin Lewis has been very vocal about the fact that he really doesn't want to go on these fake interviews anymore. And he was talking earlier today that he's been on a lot of these in his career. And he literally had to ask teams, if you're not really interested in hiring me, just can you call a different black guy? Because it's insulting.
He also said he was paid to tank also. He also said his coach asked him to pay. He asked him to take payment for them to tank, so they can have so many seasons they can improve. I reported it came out just recently about Marvin Lewis. Actually, it's funny you brought him up.
Yeah, dude, this is just a deeper problem. Hopefully this Brian Flores stuff can be the steps to get the wheels turning to hopefully eventually come to some sort of solution.
Too much money. Them white owners got too much money, but we know what racism is, bro.
Yeah.
We know what it is. Look, the black quarterback can't, black guy can't play quarterback. Remember that? He had to play receiver or be an athlete. So what are we doing here? What are we pretending?
I mean, you got to start somewhere, and hopefully this could be the start to better everything. But on a lighter note, let's talk about Tom Brady retiring. Officially calling it quits. Dude, it's ridiculous how many people were all like, no, I don't believe the story. Adam Schefter is one of the best reporters in all of news, not even just sports. But so like for people to not believe him, where there's smoke, there's fire. And and Schefter knew it and called it, first report it. But Tom Brady, great career. Joe, what moment of Tom Brady's career really stands out to you?
By the way, Dennis Erickson is the guy I was talking about. San Francisco 49ers 03-04. He was their coach, and they pulled him out of Oregon State. And yes, they brought in a bunch of black coaches only to just hire Dennis Erickson again, who they already knew they were going to hire. So it goes back a really long way. Tom Brady, I don't know. I mean, for me, the moments that stand out are the 2 Super Bowl wins by the Giants, but that's just my take on this whole Tom Brady thing. I will say this. I said this earlier in the week on Keys to the City, and tell me if you guys don't agree with this a little bit. Maybe not Zay, because he still hates Tom Brady, but I think for you guys, I feel about Tom Brady like I feel about Justin Timberlake. Early in his career, I hated his guts and thought he was like just a loser. And the more I saw the career go and kind of appreciated what he did, the more I was like, you know what? I like this guy. He's pretty great.
Wait. You hated Justin Timberlake?
I met Justin Timberlake in 1997.
Memory lane.
And Justin Timberlake, we were talking boxing, and Justin Timberlake tried to get into the circle of radio DJs. And I boxed him out. I didn't want Justin Timberlake. I didn't think a boy band guy could be a boxing fan. And so I boxed him out. I really did. And it was the 90s. So I had a lot of questions about his sexuality that I verbalized a lot. You know what I mean? It was the 90s. That's just how it was, people. But anyway, as this guy started doing SNL and making movies, and his music's not terrible, the more I was like, hey, I like this dude. Again, that's how I feel about Tom Brady. I remember that Super Bowl against the Falcons. I wanted the Falcons to win until it was 28-3, and then I wanted Tom Brady to make a comeback, and I jumped out of my seat when they won that game in overtime. So over the years, I think I just learned to appreciate this guy and the fact that at 44 years old, he's better than when he was 24 years old, and he's better than when he was 34 years old. And he was pretty great both of those times. So I just think it's a real testament to nobody knows anything about what they're talking about. You don't go from being 6th round, 199th overall pick to the greatest quarterback of all time because Mel Kiper didn't see it. Todd McShay didn't see it. None of these GMs knew what was going on. The Patriots were this close to picking Tim Rattay instead of Tom Brady. It would have all been different, people. It would have all been different. But I think that for me, one of the other reasons I hated Tom Brady was he knocked up Bridget Moynihan and then left her before the baby was born for Giselle. And I thought, who is this Boston-y douchebag? You know? They didn't win all this. I just didn't like him. But now, I love him.
He's grown on you?
Yes. Yeah, I'm so sad he's on my in one of my franchise leagues. You guys are, I think, in the franchise league, the Dynasty League. He's my starting quarterback.
Oh no!
And my bench consists of Wilson and Lawrence. Not looking too good.
Wait, Zach Wilson or Russell Wilson?
Zach.
Oh
yeah, I don't think you would have said that for Russell.
Okay.
Yeah, I think little more
Russell, I would be happy with. Yeah.
All right, Zay, well, what do you think of when you think of Tom Brady?
Well, this is interesting. Since Joe brought up Justin Timberlake, I too was a young lad in the 90s while you two weren't even born yet. And I enjoyed Justin Timberlake and his NSYNC pop group and his first album of Justified, which was actually the first CD I bought. But that's getting off track.
Learning a lot about you today, sir.
Hey, look, man, when you was a young adolescent at that time, that's what it was. You know, the girls liked it. I thought it was a good CD to play around. I don't know, you know. Look, when you had a CD player back then, you thought you were cool. You bought any CD back then, you know. You didn't have a Walkman no more. So anyway, enough about that. Brings me to my Tom Brady moment, which would bring me to the Super Bowl against the Carolina Panthers, which I don't remember which the number it was. It had a bunch of X's and a bunch of V's and a bunch of lines. I'm not going to get into it. I wish they just did regular numbers like normal human beings, but whatever. Because now for some years it looks dumb, but whatever.
The first 9 or 10 years it was cool, and then it got really confusing because we're all so dumb.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. Like who uses Roman numbers? But
dude, right
whatever.
After Super Bowl 30, it was like, oh God, I don't even know. I can't do this.
And then I just saw an X one day, and I was like, Are we here? All right. Again, off track. That game was probably one of the best Super Bowls probably ever played. The Carolina Panthers and New England Patriots, and I thought it was a really good game, but that wasn't my Super Bowl moment. I just remember that Tom Brady played in that Super Bowl, and Janet Titty happened to come out, and that happened to be my favorite Tom Brady moment outside of the Giants winning, because like you guys said, I hate Tom Brady. I could care less for him. Adios. I won't miss you, bro. Peace.
Damn. All right. Well, I mean, you got to give him some respect. I mean, at least the Giants have his number.
He's a great quarterback. Yeah,
at least the Giants have his number. So
I don't care for him.
Eli will always forever be greater than Tom.
He goes in my book with the Boston
Simple math.
Red Sox,
actually,
Yankees.
Can I change my vote?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the regular season finale of 2007 when the Giants lost to Tom Brady and the Patriots? I remember after that game, because the Giants, you will recall, didn't clinch until later that night. When the Giants lost that game, they were not in the playoffs. They needed a loss by Arizona, or somebody had to lose for the Giants to get in.
No, I think the Giants were in at that point because people thought that the Giants were going to bench their starters and not play their starters that game. And Tom Coughlin said, no, we're not benching our starters. We are playing our starters against them. And that's how that ended up being one of the best football games in football NFL history.
Well, I remember so they funny story.
A week before.
I remember watching that game, and I thought to myself, having watched that game, I thought, dude, whatever. I don't care.
Steve Risser knows all.
But yeah, and that's fine.
No, they clinched against the Bills. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
I got on it.
Whatever the case, it doesn't matter. The point is that the Giants went toe-to-toe with the Patriots. And I remember after that game thinking, I think that this team's good enough. Like, I really think this team is good enough. I think that game made me believe in Eli Manning and the Giants because at the time, and I'm sure Risser could confirm this, people were calling for Coughlin's head and they wanted Manning out of town. And after that game, I felt like, no, dude, this is right. This is right. And then they obviously went on that run, but it was that loss to Tom Brady that really got me believing in Coughlin and in Eli Manning.
Yeah, it made me hate Sam Madison. Just subbed out. He should have just subbed out. He would never got the record. Just subbed out.
All right.
No, I'm glad.
He confirms. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe if the Giants won. Well, I mean, it wouldn't have made that Super Bowl so sweet.
Yeah, no. I think we had to lose that game. It felt,
yeah. But all right, Sean, what you got for a Tom Brady moment?
My favorite moment is obviously, I mean, Joe said it, but 18 wins, 1 giant loss. My favorite Tom Brady memories are 42 and 46. I'm with Zay. I've always hated Tom Brady. I'm not going to get into a whole Justin Timberlake analogy. I've never liked Tom Brady. We live in New England, or I live in Connecticut. So, I mean, I've pretty much majority of Patriots fans, so I've had to hear it my whole life. So nowadays, I don't really mind the Patriots because I like Belichick and I don't mind them much. The reason I hated the Patriots for all my life is because of Tom Brady. So you're asking the wrong guy here, even though I do appreciate his greatness. He's the greatest quarterback of all time. Can't take that away from him. I mean, 22 years is phenomenal. Being able to play at this level and not fall off a cliff up until he's 44 years old is tremendous. So I have a lot of respect for Tom Brady. He's obviously the GOAT of quarterbacks. Lawrence Taylor's still the GOAT of football. But, Tom Brady, he's phenomenal. But my favorite 2 memories are obviously the Giants games. Even though I will say that Falcons comeback definitely comes out to mind. The Seahawks game, when they're also down big in that game too. So a lot of great comebacks. Even last week against the Rams when they were down 27-3. When they tied it up, I was like, God damn it, he's going to do it again, isn't he? And luckily, Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford got it done. But, so it's going to be weird without him. It really is an end of an era with, the Manning's gone, Breeze, him, Phillip Rivers. It's pretty much those Big are all Ben. What?
Big Ben?
Who cares about Big Ben? But, those are all the QBs I grew up with. So it's weird to see them all go. But, yeah, Tom Brady, great career. But this guy over here still owns him. If there's any franchise that has anything against Tom Brady to hold over him, it's the Giants. You could say the Eagles, but really Tom Brady beat the Eagles once. The Eagles beat him once, so they're even. We're the only team that has anything on them. So
Yeah.
As the Giants have sucked for the past 5 or 6 years, that's really the only thing I could hold on to is beat the Patriots. So congrats, Tom Brady, but you know who your daddy is. He's he's right over here.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I've always I did hate Tom Brady a little bit, but I've always liked him a little bit because Giants will always have that. Eli will always be greater than Tom Brady with those 2 Super Bowls, with those 2 wins.
But it was Hugh Jackson who came out and said it, not Marvin Lewis. Correction, I just want to be correct.
Okay.
Hugh Jackson said that he was asked to forfeit games.
Oh.
Excuse me, I just want to correct myself.
Okay. All right.
One of the black coaches.
All right. Back to Tom Brady. My favorite moment for Tom Brady, I mean, there's a bunch. I mean, yeah, obviously those Super Bowls where he lost and that Week 17 game was amazing. But to me, his first Super Bowl against the Rams, I mean, there was still a little controversy there between the Bledsoe and Tom Brady going into that because if I'm correct, Tom Brady got injured in the AFC Championship game. So Bledsoe was in there. They didn't know who they were going to start. And then at the end of that game, Tom Brady just orchestrating that fourth quarter drive, really just putting his stamp, making it known, hey, the Patriots are my team now. And then we all know what happened since that point and the dominance that Tom Brady had in New England. So, yeah, just that one fourth quarter drive, just him. I mean, and that's what he's known for. Even there's an old lady I work with. She knows Tom Brady. That fourth quarter drive, that's all she talks about whenever sometimes I bring up football with her. All she knows is Tom Brady coming back in the fourth quarter to get the win. And, yeah, that's what he's known for. And that's why he's the GOAT.
Are y'all wearing knee pads when y'all talk about him? Or?
No. You got to respect him because he is the GOAT. But Eli Manning will always have his number.
I will say this. It is hard to say that this guy is not the greatest football player of all time. I mean, it really is. When you look at all of the records that this guy broke, you look at the 7 Super Bowl rings, all the MVPs, the Super Bowl MVPs. Again, kind of coming, again, 6th-round pick, 190. Like, that's, you got to say, dude, like, for a guy that they expected so little from, everything that he did, it's, I mean, just on the championships alone, he's in a different class.
He's achieved the most. I will give him that. But if I had to go between Rodgers and Brady, I'm going Rodgers. For one game, I'm going Rodgers. It's just my opinion.
I was with you for a second there, Zay. I agree with the achievement thing. But when you said Aaron Rodgers, that's where
come on.
I don't know.
One game,
I don't know where you're going with
I gotta go Rodgers. The man gets, as long as it's not the NFC Championship game. Any other game, as long as it's not the NFC Championship game.
So he needs to go to the AFC, you're saying.
Maybe that's what's wrong.
Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, I think like Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White, Deion Sanders, someone like the overall actual greatest football player. But I mean, Tom Brady's definitely right there. I just hate Tom Brady. So I
love Lawrence Taylor, and I want him to be the greatest player of all time. And I talk about him, and again, in terms of he revolutionized that linebacker position. The whole game of football changed after he showed up. And to a lesser degree, football changed after Tom Brady showed up, but not because of Tom Brady. That makes sense? I mean, the league changed to a very pass-friendly league when he got to the NFL. And he was maybe the best at sort of incorporating that and throwing to the slants and the checkdowns and doing all the things that he did. Lawrence Taylor single-handedly did cause the entire game to change to something different. Yeah. And so you give him the leg up on that. You know, again, talking about the greatest players, I mean, certainly Reggie White and a Deion Sanders, Jim Brown, Barry Sanders. I mean, there's a lot of people. I just think when you look at the overall resume of Tom Brady. And again, he did all of these things without being athletic, without being fast. You know, he didn't have all the skill set that you would want in that guy. He wasn't Joe Montana. He wasn't Terry Bradshaw. He wasn't that skilled. He didn't come with that kind of reputation. And look what he did. That's incredible. I mean, I'm not a Tom Brady guy, but what he did is incredible. It's hard to even, dude. If you showed me the backup quarterback at Michigan, 6th round pick, wins 7 Super Bowls, I would think that you had like created some Madden bullshit. You know what I mean? I'd have been like, what is that nonsense? That's the kind of stuff that I do. Where Blake Bortles is about to win an NFL championship on my version of Madden.
No.
You know?
No.
The boat.
It's happening.
We hear what
Bortles.
you're saying, but Lawrence Taylor gave a new meaning to playing between the white lines.
See,
He's definitely the greatest player of all time. And I just want to shout out Joe for one thing. We covered the black topic, and Joe bought his grape soda. So I'm happy to see that. So I
know
great
what's
bubbly,
up.
great bro.
This
Yeah,
is-
Joe knows what's up. He's ready. He's prepared for today. Rest of you guys
Solidarity.
slacking.
All right. Before we end the show, though, I do want to spring a little extra topic on you guys. We'll talk about it more in depth next week. But Bengals versus Rams in the Super Bowl. We're over a week out. Joe, which way you leaning this early?
I'm going to go Bengals here. I just feel like this team is playing so well. They've got so much going right with them. I didn't love watching the Rams collapse last week, and I've now seen, and I've questioned the guy a lot over the last few years, but I've seen Joe Burrow step up in every big moment where I said, I don't think Joe Burrow is going to step up. And it's all he's done. To go on the road and beat Tennessee and Kansas City, this is not a fluke. And for anybody who's like, well, wait till they get to the Rams. I don't know. I don't think the Rams are that much better than the Titans or the Chiefs are. And they certainly, they all they could, I mean, the Rams have taken all they can in this postseason. I mean, they barely skated by. I just feel like the swagger of Joe Cool, just the way this team's playing, it's going to be really hard for the Rams to beat the Bengals. It's almost an amazing thing to say, but it's where I'm leaning.
Joe Shiesty. What are you talking about?
Joe whatever. He's got so many names.
Yeah, right.
But
it changes by the hour. I don't. What, Joe Shiesty, is that what it is now?
I guess so. Zay, which way you? I mean, you've been hot. You've been high on the Bengals all postseason.
I'm trying to cash out now. Now that Joe picked the Bengals, I'm trying to cash out on FanDuel. It's not letting me early cash out. Yeah, no, I've been out on the Bengals. I've been saying it. I mentioned earlier, even though y'all ridiculed me, but the Colts, I wanted my Bengals to be my sleeper team because I really felt the Colts were going to make it regularly. But I just, like I said, I've been hot on the Bengals. I think the Bengals are really that good. I think they're the real deal. And I said it, Joe has got it done at every level. He's going to get it done here. And I said it before, the Chiefs were going to be the team to beat. If he could beat the Chiefs, that'd be it. Pat Mahomes did what I love. He held on to the ball way too long, caused his team to lose the game, and almost really caused them to lose the game with that fumble at the end. And I think he actually put Isaiah up in picks this. And when we get to the Super Bowl picks, we'll talk about that later, I'm sure. But I think I'm leading right now. But it was a good week. But yeah, it's all Bengals, bro. All Bengals.
All right.
Shit, I might lead the Giants. We might have to change this podcast. In the jungle with the Bengals. It's a whole podcast.
Sean, are you on the Bengals too?
I am actually. I mean, I can't.
Oh man, where's my money?
Yeah, you better cash that out right now, buddy. But I mean, yeah, you can't go against Joe Burrow. When it comes up to the big moments, he's responded time and time again. We've seen it through that national championship run, his first playoff so far in the NFL. He's done it. So, and this defense is playing really well. The pass rush that they're getting from Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, Secondary is playing well. The front seven is doing well. And then obviously the receivers that they have on top of Joe Mixon out of the backfield. So Rams are obviously a lot more talented as an entire roster, but it's hard to bet against Joe Burrow and what he's doing right now. So I am rooting for the Rams. I know the Bengals are very likable, but I want to see Odell win it. And I hate Eli Apple, especially all the talking he's been doing on Twitter. So I would root for the Bengals if Eli Apple wasn't on their team, but I hate Eli Apple. I can't stand him. So I want to see OBJ torch Eli Apple for the game winner. And so I want the Rams to win, but I think the Bengals are going to win.
No. Odell will be out there dancing at the halftime show if they get up big. We don't want to see this. Yeah,
my goodness.
I'd be so sick to my stomach to see him win a Super Bowl, knowing we sent him to die in Cleveland.
Yeah.
No, he deserves it.
I feel like Cleveland fans should feel worse about it than Giants fans. Or at least
they have a division rival in there, and
one of
the best players on the other team.
Yeah, they know what they was into. Yeah, they knew what they were getting themselves into.
It's a lose-lose for Browns fans. Whoever wins.
Yeah. But I'm opposite of you, Sean. I want Joe Burrow to win. I want Joe Burrow to usher in and be the new baby goat. Because I think if he wins, I think this is going to be something like he might be the next Tom Brady. Like, I'm not joking. I think he has the potential.
Right, yeah,
if he can win this Super Bowl, like, it's wide open now that Tom Brady.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Pat Mahomes has won one Super Bowl. What's he done since?
He didn't do that in his second year.
But still,
let's stop comparing these guys to other guys.
All right.
No, but they do that.
I think he is vying for the GOAT. Like, I think he can leave. If he wins the Super Bowl, I think he will. He's definitely going to Canton. Because I think he can get a couple more.
Yo, I'm sorry.
Joe Burrow? Yeah, if he can win the Super Bowl, I think he can win more Super Bowls.
All right, let's end the show. Obviously, you're hungry and you're talking crazy.
Dude, if he can win one Super Bowl, why can't he win another?
Because Pat Mahomes has won one. What has he done since? Pat Mahomes may never win another Super Bowl in his career.
Pat Mahomes also has a bunch more years to win.
Chase, you're talking about a guy who's got 12 career wins. Stop. No,
he's in the Super Bowl. And he's in the Super Bowl.
He's gonna win the Super Bowl.
No, you're right. Yeah,
he's gonna win the Super Bowl, retire, go into kids. And
Dan Marino went to a Super Bowl in his first year. He lost and never went back. So
yeah.
Okay.
Joe
Burrow still has to win this one.
Joe Burrow, I think, is different. That's what I'm
saying.
Sean,
it's easy to get to a Super Bowl, and it's easier to get to a Super Bowl and never even sniff it again than it is to go to two.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees, two other examples.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, Joe Burrow's different.
I don't have enough Advil. He's going to Canton.
He is. Yes, he is. I think Joe Burrow is. I'm gonna say it now.
Y'all talking about my bold takes. Look, I get ridiculed when I say the Bengals are going to be in the Super Bowl. 5 weeks ago, I said it. I got ridiculed.
Zay,
let me
tell you. Can I tell you why that is?
Joe Burrow's going to Canton.
Can I tell you why that is?
Because I'm the black guy on the show.
Because you're black and you have way higher standards. You say one thing and you're gone.
Yes.
No, truth is Zay, you do say some really bold things, and we usually laugh at Zay, and then like 6 weeks later, it's like, oh God, he was kind of right about that.
Yeah.
With Jace, he just says ridiculously obnoxious, insane things all the time, and we just deal with it.
Hey Joe, what about Francis Ngannou though?
Jace, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Are you serious?
Hey, I've been saying it. All right, let's go. All right, we'll get wild. That's gonna do it.
It's the one thing that you could say was you have nothing else. That was it. That was the one time you were right over me in the last year. You'll take it, won't you?
Dude, I've been right about Francis Ngannou every step of the way.
Twice. You got me twice.
In the biggest moments.
You couldn't even think of a football thing on a football show. You had to bring up UFC.
Right?
Yeah. Well, it's because we didn't have it last week, so I didn't get to rub in Francis Ngannou then. I'm still... It's still all jarred up inside of me.
Got a Joe Burrow rubbing just now.
Tune in.
Good rubbing.
He's going to the Super Bowl. I mean, he's going to Canton. He's already going to the Super Bowl. He has, like, if He's going to continue to grow unless the only way that doesn't happen is if they don't fix this old line, because I can see some
Jason, people like you in sports. Do you work for EA? Do you realize EA has probably ruined Pat Mahomes by doing that GOAT and GOAT edition of the Madden? He probably now has the worst Madden curse you could ever imagine because they put him as a GOAT and GOAT edition. He may never win ever again. He may only be there twice. And you're talking about Canton for Burrow? Like, I want him to win.
If you actually think Patrick Mahomes isn't going to another Super Bowl in what's he got? At least another.
Why?
How much longer does he have in
what in Super Bowl history leads me to believe Aaron Rodgers has been to? Has he been to one since?
Yeah, but the other thing is that there's no more Tom Brady.
Aaron Rodgers not as good as Pat Mahomes?
But
bro, that AFC with Herbert and Lamar Jackson,
and
probably Aaron Rodgers soon,
Josh Allen,
Allen.
They can get back. I'm just saying they can get back.
It's going to be very difficult to get back.
But they can. They can.
Everyone around you is getting better, and you're talking about get back. This team had to turn it on midway through the season. They almost didn't make the playoffs. They almost lost to the Giants.
Because Joe Burrow is a beast.
That doesn't make sense.
Wait,
all
what?
right.
Wait.
Let's run the credit.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Crazier.
No, Joe Burrow's going to Canton. Final word. That's all I'm going to say.
Does Joe Burrow live in Canton, or does his aunt live there? Is that why you're saying that?
He is from Ohio.
He's going for a visit to someone in Canton. Is that what you're going to tell us in a few minutes? Like, his grandma
even to go from Heisman winner to national championship to a Super Bowl winner in 3 years, I think that just in and of itself is Canton worthy. That's
why you'll never get a Canton vote.
So wait a minute. What did Cam Newton do?
Not in that short amount of time. And Joe Burrow would have won.
What?
Cam Newton did not win.
Wait, does Joe Burrow have to win the Super Bowl for any of what you say to make sense?
No, because he's going to go to other Super Bowls. So,
well, he's got to win the first one, though, doesn't he?
Not necessarily.
He's got to win at least one. You can't just go there.
Oh, my God.
He can go back. You're telling me Joe Burrow can't lead the Bengals back to a Super Bowl?
No, he could.
Cam Newton is a borderline Hall of Famer.
We're just going.
Bro, if Daniel Jones takes the Giants to 3 straight Super Bowls, going to Canton.
This is why I don't feel comfortable with DeVoe. He believes in DeVoe. I don't feel comfortable. I'm out.
Okay.
If Daniel Jones can lead the Giants to 5 Super Bowls in the next 10 years, Canton, totally.
If he can lead them to 5 wins, I'll be surprised. 5 Super Bowls? He leads them to 5
in 10 years.
5
in 10 years, then he's going to Canton. That's all he's got to do. He can do it. If he could lead them once, he could lead them there 4 more times.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Okay. I like your logic. We could do this with anybody, can't we?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, Mitchell Trubisky. Going to get a starting job somewhere. He's going to win a Super Bowl next year, and then he's going to win a few more. Going to Canton.
Good night,
Just
folks.
wait till Mike Glennon returns to Tampa Bay.
Really?
Oh my goodness! All right, that's finally gonna do it for John about the G-Men. Thank you, Joe.
I'm just thinking about Mike Glennon now in a really long turtleneck with the golden jacket. Anybody see it? Just this really long.
Yeah. He's got the NFL logo right on his Adam's apple.
Be honest, after watching Mike Glennon play this year, if I was Colin Kaepernick, I would have sued the NFL again. I couldn't believe after that. I would have sued them again after that. I would have played his highlight reel that Joe put together.
By the way, I was playing Madden 2015 the other night. Long story. And the opposing quarterback was Mike Glennon. And Phil Simms on that game says Mike Glennon is one of the best prospects ever to come out of college football.
Oh,
what, Phil Simms?
He was buying that. He was drinking that NC State juice.
Phil Simms said that, people.
Yeah.
Time for me to get you the new Madden.
All right. Okay, it's time for us to wrap up. That's going to do it for John about the G-Men this week. We'll be back next week to preview the Super Bowl and talk more about the Giants. For myself, Big Jace, Joe Aguirre, King Zay, Sean Scanlon. We'll see you next week for more John about the G-Men. Take care.
Sanderson looking in, zone for a pass. He's looking for King, intercepted. He's going to go down the right side. Lawrence down to the 20, 30, down to the 40. He might go all the way. 3rd down and 7. Good jump off the line by Strahan, who gets the sack. Pressure from Thomas off the edge. Eli Manning stays on his feet. Airs it out down the field. It is caught by Tyree. 4-man rush. Eli throwing into traffic on the sideline. They're going to rule the catch by Manning.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All 4 Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.